The woman looked like she had everything. Expensive clothes, front row seats, diamond jewelry. But when Elvis stopped his concert to ask why she was crying, her answer shocked 19,000 people and revealed a truth about success that nobody expected. It was October 15th, 1975, at the Chicago Stadium, and Elvis was performing for a sold-out crowd of 19,000 people. The energy was electric, and Elvis was in one of his most dynamic moods, having just brought the house down with Burning Love and Jailhouse Rock. As he transitioned into the more intimate part of his show, Elvis began singing Love Me Tender, the song that always created a special connection with his audience. That's when he noticed her. In the VIP section, front row center, sat a woman who clearly had money. Her dress was obviously designer, her jewelry was real diamonds and pearls, and everything about her appearance screamed success and privilege. She was exactly the kind of person you'd expect to see in the expensive seats at an Elvis concert, but she was crying, not the happy tears of an overwhelmed fan, but deep, heartbroken sobs that racked her entire body. Elvis had seen thousands of crying fans over the years, but something about this woman's tears was different. They weren't tears of joy or excitement. They were tears of profound grief. Elvis stopped singing mid-verse. The band, confused by the sudden silence, gradually stopped playing. 19,000 people looked around, wondering what was happening. "Hold on, folks," Elvis said into his microphone, his eyes never leaving the crying woman. "Just hold on for a minute." He walked to the edge of the stage and looked directly at the woman in the expensive dress. "Ma'am, the beautiful lady in the front row. Are you all right, honey?" The woman looked up, startled to realize that Elvis Presley was talking directly to her. Her face was streaked with mascara, and she was clutching a handkerchief that was already soaked with tears. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice barely audible, but somehow carrying in the sudden silence of the arena. "I didn't mean to disrupt your show." "Sweetheart, you're not disrupting anything," Elvis said gently. "But I can see you're hurting. What's your name?" "Janet," the woman replied. "Janet Williams." "Janet, that's a beautiful name. Can you tell me what's wrong? Why are you so sad?" What Janet Williams said next shocked not just Elvis, but every person in that arena who could hear her. "Because I have everything," she said, her voice breaking. "I have money, I have success, I have a beautiful house and expensive cars and designer clothes. But I've lost the only thing that ever mattered to me, and all this stuff means nothing." Elvis was taken aback. He'd expected her to tell him about a death in the family, a medical diagnosis, or some personal tragedy. He hadn't expected her to talk about having too much. "What did you lose, Janet?" Elvis asked, his voice full of compassion. "My son," Janet said, and the words came out like a physical blow. "My 16-year-old son, Michael. He died in a car accident 3 months ago. And I don't know how to live without him." The arena went completely silent. 19,000 people collectively held their breath as they realized they were witnessing something profound and heartbreaking. "Janet," Elvis said softly, "I'm so sorry for your loss, but can you tell me something? What does your son's death have to do with having everything?" Janet looked up at Elvis with eyes that were filled with pain, but also with a desperate need to be understood. "Because I worked so hard to give him everything," she said, her voice getting stronger even as the tears continued to flow. "I'm a lawyer. I built a successful practice. I made a lot of money. I bought us a big house in the best neighborhood. I thought that was what being a good mother meant. providing for him financially. She paused, trying to gather her thoughts. But I was always working, always at the office, always taking calls, always focused on making more money to buy him more things. I missed his baseball games, his school plays, his birthday parties. I told myself it was okay, because I was securing his future. And then he died. Janet continued, and I realized that all the money in the world couldn't bring him back. All those expensive things I bought him are still in his room, but he's not there to enjoy them. And all those moments I missed with him, all those times I chose work over time with my son, I can never get those back. Elvis felt tears coming to his own eyes. This woman's pain was so raw, so honest, that it was impossible not to be moved by it. The worst part, Janet said, is that I found out after he died that he used to tell his friends he wished his mum would just spend time with him instead of buying him stuff. He didn't care about the expensive clothes or the latest gadgets. He just wanted his mother to be present in his life. The impact of her words hit everyone in the arena. Here was a successful woman who had achieved everything society told her to pursue, only to discover that she'd sacrificed the most important thing of all. Elvis stood at the edge of the stage for a long moment, processing what he'd just heard. Then he made a decision that would create one of the most profound moments in his performing career. "Janet, I want you to come up here with me." "Oh, I couldn't." Janet started to protest. "Yes, you can, and you're going to. Because I think you have something important to teach all of us." Security helped Janet make her way to the stage, and Elvis guided her to a chair that crew members had quickly brought out. "Ladies and gentlemen," Elvis said to the audience, "I want you to meet Janet Williams." Janet is a successful lawyer who thought she had everything figured out. But tonight, she's going to share with us one of the most important lessons any of us can learn. "Janet," Elvis said, sitting down next to her, "tell these folks what you told me. About your son, about success, about what really matters." Janet looked out at 19,000 people and found a courage she didn't know she still possessed. "I thought success meant having money and buying things," she said into Elvis's microphone. "I thought being a good mother meant providing financially for my child, but I was wrong." Her voice grew stronger as she continued. "Success isn't about what you have. It's about who you love and who loves you back. Being a good parent isn't about buying your children things. It's about being present in their lives, sharing moments with them, creating memories together." The arena was completely silent, hanging on every word. "I would give up everything I own, my house, my cars, my law practice, all of it, just to have one more day with my son, just to sit with him and talk, to listen to his music, to hear him laugh." Elvis was deeply moved by Janet's honesty and wisdom born from grief. "Janet, what would you want to say to the parents in this audience tonight?" Elvis asked. Janet looked out at the crowd with tears still streaming down her face. "Go home tonight and hug your children," she said. "Put down your phones, turn off the TV, stop thinking about work, and just be with them. Ask them about their day. Listen to their dreams. Pay attention to what makes them happy." She paused, gathering her strength. "Because things can be replaced, but time can't. Money can be earned again, but memories with your children can only be made once. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day and realize that while you were busy providing for your children's future, you missed their present." "Janet," Elvis said, "what was your son's favorite song?" "Can't Help Falling in Love," Janet said immediately. "He used to sing it around the house all the time. He had a beautiful voice. I always meant to sign him up for voice lessons, but I was too busy with work." Elvis looked at his band and nodded. "Boys, let's play Michael's song." What followed was the most emotionally charged performance of Can't Help Falling in Love that Elvis ever gave. But this time, he wasn't just singing about romantic love, he was singing about the love between parents and children, about the preciousness of time, about the things that truly matter in life. As Elvis sang, Janet closed her eyes and imagined her son Michael singing along. For the first time since his death, she felt connected to him, not through grief, but through joy in his memory. During the song, something beautiful happened in the arena. Parents began thinking about their own children, about the time they spent together, about the choices they made between work and family. Many people in the audience were crying now, not just for Janet's loss, but for their own realization that they might be making the same mistakes she had made. When the song ended, the applause was different from any Elvis had ever received. It wasn't applause for entertainment, it was applause for truth, for wisdom, for a lesson that could change lives. "Janet," Elvis said, "I want to make you a promise. From now on, whenever I perform Can't Help Falling in Love, I'm going to think about your son, Michael, and I'm going to remember what you taught us tonight, about what really matters." He turned to the audience. "And I want everyone here to make the same promise. When you hear that song, remember Janet's story. Remember that success isn't about what you accumulate. It's about the love you share and the time you spend with the people who matter most." Elvis spent the next 30 minutes on stage with Janet, talking about loss, about parenting, about the difference between providing for your children and being present with them. Janet shared more stories about Michael, his sense of humor, his kindness to other kids, his dreams of becoming a teacher. As she talked about him, her grief began to transform from something that was destroying her into something that was honoring his memory. "Michael sounds like he was an amazing young man," Elvis said. "He was," Janet replied. "And the irony is, he became amazing, not because of all the expensive things I bought him, but in spite of my absence, he was kind and funny and caring because that's who he naturally was. I can't take credit for the best parts of who he was." "Janet," Elvis said, "what are you going to do now? How are you going to honor Michael's memory?" Janet thought for a moment, then said something that surprised even herself. "I'm going to change how I practice law. Instead of just focusing on making money, I'm going to help families spend more time together. I'm going to advocate for better work-life balance, for parental leave policies, for anything that helps parents be present in their children's lives." She looked out at the audience. "And I'm going to start a foundation in Michael's name. It's going to provide family counseling and support for parents who want to prioritize their relationships with their children over their careers." The story of Janet Williams became legendary, not just among Elvis fans, but throughout the business community. Her message about success and priorities resonated with thousands of working parents who realized they might be making the same mistakes. The Michael Williams Foundation that Janet established went on to help thousands of families create better work-life balance and stronger relationships between parents and children. But perhaps more importantly, Janet's story that night changed how many people in that arena thought about their own lives and priorities. After the concert, Elvis was deeply affected by his encounter with Janet. "I've been performing for 20 years, he told his manager Joe Esposito, "and I thought I understood what success meant. But Janet taught me something tonight that I'll never forget." "What's that, boss?" "That success without love is just expensive failure. That having everything means nothing. if you don't have the people who matter most. Elvis began incorporating Janet's message into his performances, often talking between songs about the importance of family, of being present with loved ones, of not sacrificing relationships for career advancement. In the days and weeks following the concert, newspaper columnists and radio talk show hosts discussed Janet's story. Her message about redefining success sparked conversations in offices, schools, and homes across the country. Many parents made changes in their own lives, choosing to spend more time with their children and less time pursuing financial success at the expense of family relationships. The story of Elvis and Janet Williams reminds us that grief can be a teacher, that loss can lead to wisdom, and that sometimes the most successful-looking people are the ones who need the most help. It also shows us that true success isn't measured by what we accumulate, but by the relationships we build and the love we share. On October 15, 1975, Elvis Presley was supposed to entertain 19,000 people with a concert. Instead, Janet Williams taught all of them the most important lesson of their lives: that time with loved ones is the only currency that really matters. Janet came to that concert as a successful businesswoman drowning in grief and regret. She left as someone who had found a new purpose and a way to honor her son's memory by helping other families avoid her mistakes. And Elvis learned something that night that influenced how he thought about his own life and career: that fame and fortune mean nothing if you don't have love, and that the most important performances aren't always the ones on stage, but the ones that happen in our everyday relationships with the people we care about. That's the real magic of that October night in Chicago. Not that Elvis was compassionate to a grieving mother, but that a grieving mother used her pain to teach thousands of people about what truly matters in life. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected teachers, and sometimes the people who seem to have everything are the ones who can teach us the most about what we're missing. If this incredible story of redefining success and prioritizing love moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear about the importance of being present with loved ones. What does success really mean to you? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to ring that notification bell for more amazing true stories about the moments that change how we see the world.